Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 9th of 2023, and given that there's a lot of problems happening between Disney and Lucasfilm trying to course correct many of their franchises out there like Marvel, Star Wars, and just Disney flat out in general, really struggling on all fronts, all different business models, whether it be streaming or their theatrical releases or the merchandise sales at an all-time low. We also know that there's a lot of other problems with their parks, lower attendees than usual. Now, moving onwards, we know that Bob Iger is really trying to lie to the general public, making it seem like Disney is performing a whole lot better than they really are. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy has been wreaking havoc over at Lucasfilm, not just because of what happened with Indiana Jones 5 and Solo: A Star Wars Story and the entirety of the sequel trilogy films, Kenobi and Boba Fett, but we also know that her handling the financial end of the spectrum over at Lucasfilm has been a disaster. Now, one thing in particular has a lot to do with Lucasfilm's situation for the remaining months of 2023, as we also head into 2024 and what's going on with the company. Now, we know that Disney and Bob Iger are not helping at all in the least, and it's putting Lucasfilm into a more serious situation, a more delicate scenario, if you will. Let's get into the specifics, shall we? Now, on top of all of what's going on between Lucasfilm's Star Wars movies and their TV shows, with Disney and Lucasfilm attempting to course correct the franchise, one major development has to do with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. As of now, Lucasfilm is indeed falling into financial flames, not just due to Indy 5 and its box office failure, setting Lucasfilm back hundreds of millions, but, however, it also has to do with Bob Iger's cost containment plan, budgeting restrictions, and now even cancellations, as Disney plans to make Lucasfilm a smaller scale studio over the next 2 years. Kathleen Kennedy has now been given the green light by Disney to cancel over 5 Star Wars TV shows for Disney+, 4 of which were going to be live action, 1 of which was going to be a new animated series, just as big and important as the Clone Wars, all of which have now been canceled due to Lucasfilm's financial struggles and scares for the future as they begin to embrace smaller scale productions and closing some internal studios and stages to film at. Additionally, Disney is now already in progress of canceling their Dawn of the Jedi Star Wars movie by James Mangold, since they have little to no confidence that this film will be able to make more than its planned $350 million budget plus marketing costs. Now guys, let me just pause here before I get to the next big thing that's happening at Lucasfilm, okay? The fact that they have the audacity to embrace another Star Wars movie that's going to be such high budget, similar if not more than Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny by the same exact creator, is ludicrous. It makes absolutely no sense, the fact that they would do something like this, and you know what, I think it is a good move by Disney to rid of this movie and to move along with taking this off the roadmap of the Star Wars films, because guys, let's face it, as of right now, these movies are not releasing until 2026 and 2027. More on that in just a second, because they're not going to be keeping those release dates if the strikes hit January. Alright, so there's going to be more on that in just 1 second. What's interesting, though, is the fact that they don't want anything to do with James Mangold anymore. And a lot of this is rooted back to why he allowed Phoebe Waller-Bridge and her ideas for Indy 5 to spill into his story. And that was something that Disney was not all too fond of. We talked about how Phoebe Waller really contributed to the mess of Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny and how much it lost to Lucasfilm. And not just that, Kathleen Kennedy also requested over-budgeting The Dial of Destiny for specific de-aging scenes of Harrison Ford that went completely unused, and also will never see the light of day on the Blu-ray, the DVD, or even the Disney Plus streaming version. And that just goes to show you that she literally took money and threw it in the trash for Indy 5. And so that's why, Lucasfilm has been struggling as of late. Now, say what you will about Ahsoka, a lot of people have differing opinions on that show, episode by episode, and that's fine. But still, their ratings are not quite meeting their expectations behind the scenes, even for Star Wars Ahsoka. Now, moving onwards, alright, this is where things get even more complex. Mangold, who led Indiana Jones 5, is someone that Disney is now looking to remove and scrap this project altogether. During the planned first earnings call by Disney for 2024, Bob Iger also plans to announce further budgeting restrictions for Lucasfilm, as they adapt to the ongoing struggles of meeting their expected ratings for Star Wars material and planned theatrical releases, getting delayed yet again due to the Hollywood strikes. Iger is planning to announce that the films will be delayed another whole year, shifting them from releasing in 2027 and 2028 instead. Iger will also be making more alarming announcements for Lucasfilm later this year during the last earnings call. Now look, that brings another discussion to the table. Does anybody really care about these Star Wars movies if they're going to be releasing so far in the future? 2027, 2028. It's just ridiculous to even try to get hyped up for something like that, or to even think about it at this point. It's kind of similar to Secret Wars. It's so far away where it's just like, you might as well just not think about it at all, period. So, right now, those films are still releasing. 2 of which in 26, 1 of which in 27. If the strikes continue, like I said before, until January, that's when Disney's going to announce in the first earnings call that they're going to be delaying those movies, and even Marvel movies, mind you, as well, a whole year later. And it's not going good for Disney. It's really not, especially with their situation right now and their potential of facing a year, if not more, of like blanked out releases. That's going to be scary for them, no doubt about it. So, look, we know that Lucasfilm is getting more budgeting restrictions next year. It's going to make all of their projects more small scale, more cheap looking. It's going to have less CGI effects, more practical effects. And hey, I'm all for practical effects, mind you. I love the original trilogy and all. But the lack of CGI techniques and the lack of computer animation, it is very revealing of how much they are dialing back and cutting back on their costs for these Star Wars TV shows and these movies. And your end result, as a part of that, is everything's going to start looking very cheap. It's going to drive audiences away. It's going to drive people away from staying subscribed on Disney Plus. In fact, I know a lot of people that are about to ditch Disney Plus after Ahsoka comes to a close. That's what people are doing now. They sign up for one show, they binge it, and then they just ditch Disney Plus, and they don't want anything to do with it for like a year or two. There's a group of people like that Disney is trying to kind of control or kind of create a remedy for. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.